Ladies and gentlemen, on to our focus at this point. The telephone lines are open. You are free to call. We'll be taking all of your calls. The lines are flashing. The numbers are flashing on your screen for that matter. Any doubts that you have about the CBSE 2 board exams that are going to be conducted for class 10, feel free to take the phones and call us. In fact, we've got experts with us who will be explaining all of this. From 2026, class 10 students will be able to take CBSE board exams twice in an academic session or choose between the two editions, one in February and another in May. The Central Board of Secondary Education on Tuesday approved draft norms which will now be put in the public domain, and the stakeholders can submit their feedback by March 9th, following which the policy will be finalized. Candidates will also have the option to appear for both examinations if they wish. Additionally, students will be allowed to skip specific subjects in the second attempt if they are already satisfied with the scores that they have achieved in the first examination as well. In fact, particular subjects as the first attempt as well. So if you've scored better in one, you could take that score even though you've taken both the examinations. As per the draft norms, the first phase of the exams will be held from February 17th to March 6th, while the second phase will be conducted from May 5th to 20th. The board has clarified that no separate supplementary exams will be conducted under this system. Instead, the second session of the board examination will serve as a supplementary exam for those who wish to improve their scores. Well, I'm being joined by Dr. Sudha Acharya, who's a chairperson for the National Progressive School Conference, and also Dr. Sridhar Ji, who's the founder and MD for Diksha Vedantu. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us. As I said, the numbers are on your screen. Please do call if you have any concerns or you want to share your opinions at this point. Dr. Sudha Acharya, if I can come to you first, how do you look at this proposal, this draft that is out now, 2 board examinations for class 10? What are we looking at?
We welcome this proposal, draft proposal, with a lot of riders. It is, of course, child-centric. It is giving multiple choice and opportunities to children to improve their scores. But there are a lot of riders in executing and implementing this policy of 2 board examination. So the school will be involved in conducting examination from February to May last, and then the evaluation, of course, June. So from February to June, we will be involved in conducting, evaluating, and processing the result and all these things. So this is one of the aspect which will completely distort our academic calendar. Hardly there is any teaching days. So delivering quality education will be compromised. While we say that children are getting opportunity, there are riders. Why I say one point the draft says, if the child fails in first examination, suppose say the child is failing, still we can grant admission in class 11, and then the child sits for second examination. If qualifies, then he or she will continue. Otherwise, revert back to 10th. So this will affect, of course, emotional well-being of the child. In April, the child is sitting in class 11. In July, the child will move to class 10. So parents will be forced to change the school. Yeah. I was just talking to some of the parents who said another perspective, which is very, very interesting. Now they are saying the child can focus on English, maths, and science in the first examination to get the science stream. And Hindi and SST, they'll just sit like that. And the second exam, they are getting opportunity, they'll improve upon score. So we are somewhere incentivizing complacency and compromising competency of the children, though it is child-centric. And earlier, one more point is, essential repeat was given if the child fails to secure 33% mark in 2 subjects in 10th. Now, if the child fails in 1 to 5 in all the subjects, is given opportunity to sit in the second examination. So it is removing, of course, the stigma of compartment or essential repeat. Even if you fail in 5 subjects, you are given another opportunity. But somewhere, don't you think that the complacency will set in, like we had automatic promotion till class 8, and then we saw that child is not able to read books of class 2. So somewhere the teaching calendar, teaching learning calendar, and school logistic, normal functioning of the school will be affected.
Okay. All right, Dr. Sudha, that's very interesting. Dr. Sridhar, if I can get to you, how do you look at what Dr. Sudha has said? So, Dr. Sudha essentially saying it is child-centric, but it has its own riders, their own concerns at this point. It's interesting the perspective that she says that, you know, it's as if you're incentivizing certain streams. Children will just decide in the first board examination to focus on 3 subjects, 2 months later to focus on another subject. I mean, I did not think of this, but trust students and parents to come up with their own versions. Dr. Sridhar, how do you look at that?
Yeah, so first of all, I do agree with Dr. Sudha that the whole concept, at least, was planned to be child centric. And it's not something new. This was implemented in Karnataka last year. Last year, in the state of Karnataka, in the 10th board exams as well as the 12th board exam, they had introduced 3 attempts, not 2, 3 attempts. But a child writes the attempt in February, March, misses it, not happy, can rewrite it in April, May, and then the last attempt was in June. What was the impact of these multiple attempts?
Right.
Definitely in terms of student performances, pass percentages, top scores, the performance has dramatically improved in Karnataka. And the whole logic behind it being that, hey, the whole 1 year of study, you're cramming it to that one day the child goes there, he has a migraine, he has a headache, she's a little unwell, and then she performs badly, and that mark is stuck onto her for life. Give a chance for the child to have a better shot at it. That was the whole rationale behind it. I think it's a very good idea, noble idea. Preliminary results from Karnataka are very positive. But like Dr. Sudha said, there are a lot of logistical issues that are there. Yeah, primarily the school is going to be busy from February to June conducting exams and evaluation. When do teachers get leave? Even now, there's a lot of stress in the system that teachers in grade 10, 11, 12 are very busy with the board examination work, and the leave schedule is getting smaller and narrower for them. It now becomes even tighter trying to get them the annual leave. And the problem Karnataka faced was in the 11th standard when 10th board exam was done. Children kept writing these examinations 3 times and kept stretching it on. So though the academic program began in June, children were still coming in and joining classes June 15th, June 30th, till July. The last date for closure of admissions was July 31st. So you had around 20% of children still walking in late into college because they were studying, they were preparing for the board exams. What Dr. Sudha was saying that they may choose to write the exam, join a school, and then write the exam again is a little difficult because as you start studying for 11th, going and studying your 10th standard chapters and doing well in it takes away your time. So most kids finish off both attempts and then come to college, and then they start off with a disadvantage. As it is, the foundation was weak, and now they come to 11th standard and miss the first 1 month of school. So it becomes difficult for them. So this is something that to just fine tweak. I think in principle, it's a good idea. We should not like they say, no, throw out the baby with the bathwater. We should definitely work with the system, give a little fine tweaks to it, and fundamentally give the child a second chance is a very good idea.
Yeah, giving the child a second chance. But you know, here's the thing I wanted to ask both of you, how do you look at this? At class 10, most of the children don't have any time for anything else anyway. They are perpetually just studying. And now you're taking them through the ordeal twice. I mean, yes, there's one prism which says give the child a second chance where they can improve something. They don't have to stick to it forever. But then there is the other thing, where is that whole preparation that needs to be made for a child mentally, physically, to be able to take life on for that. Every time you're not going to get a second chance, and sometimes you just need to develop that thick skin to be able to live with that first challenge that you face in life.
I will tell you one more point. Even though we are giving chance to the children, even from the teachers, I mean, think about like Dr. Sudha pointed out, the teachers won't get any leave. Another positive point is that children were not allowed change subject once the LOC is finalized, once registration is done. But in the proposed draft, it is said that if suppose a child has standard maths and after registration realizes that not having competency or comfortable in appearing standard maths, can change to basic maths in second examination. In that case, the child need not appear in first exam in standard maths, can appear in basic maths in second examination. This is again one more welcoming aspect, but all the children will be paying double fees, because how do I know what will be my score in maths and I would like to improve? So right from the beginning, you have to pay for both the exams so that you can appear in the second exam. So think about EWS students coming from socioeconomic background, underprivileged class, enhanced fees and double fees can put some financial burden there. So every point is coming with a rider. Even though
Right.
children are getting chance to change subject, but again, they have to pay double.
Right. In fact, just a very quick note here. Let me just tell our viewers, I believe we have got at least 4 calls till now, but there seems to be some back-end technical glitch at this point, and we are trying to rectify that glitch, and as soon as we can, we will get those callers patched onto the lines here so that you can ask the questions to your experts. Apologies to our viewers at this point. We are trying to rectify the back-end technical glitch. So Dr. Sridhar, everybody goes through technical glitches, and I'm sure there'll be responses to this draft that has been put out as well. But Dr. Sridhar, here's the question that I have to also ask you. I mean, just a deviation. A lot seems to be happening in terms of experiments with the future of children. And it's not bad. I mean, it's always good to upgrade and improve. But what do you make out of this 3 language policy, this entire controversy that now has become hugely political? I don't want to get into the politics of it with you, but Dr. Sridhar, sometimes at the heart of it are children. And, all they would be wondering is what's going to get them their career.
So this is a very explosive topic. You got to tread very carefully on it. So I don't want to say of the pros or cons of the 3 language policy, but if I just look at it, India is a very, very rich and diverse country. Hey, if you live in a particular place, you need to know the language of that place. It is not right for you living in a place and not knowing the local language and local customs. So it makes sense that if I'm staying in a particular state, I know that state's language. Now, the fear is if I only associate with that language, my identity may become too state oriented and I don't see the bigger identity of my country. And so, hey, it's good to see the country's history, country's language, and the country's culture to get a better alignment with the country itself. And so, you want the second language, which would be your national language. And then, hey, that sounds good. Let's stay on with it. But unfortunately, the world is now so integrated, it's so tied up together that if you do not know English, you're now at a disadvantage when you want to go and compete for the jobs out there. And hence, voila, we need to give them the third language as well. So that's the rationale behind the 3 language policy.
Okay, Dr. Sridhar, I believe we've been able to patch one caller. This is Miss Kuku calling from Delhi. Miss Kuku, thank you very much for calling us. Please go ahead. What's your concern?
And see, hello.
Yes, Miss Kuku, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
See, I was a little baffled seeing this news item about 2 consecutive examinations within a short time for class 10, and I really cannot understand the logics behind this. Okay, firstly, that is one, because I'm so confused. Children struggle with one exam, and to put them through another thing is, I think, really traumatic for them. And let me tell you one thing, madam. You need to put this that exam for class 10, the results does not begin in class 10. People start gearing up actually from class 8. And I remember my principal telling me when I was a young girl that for a good student, an exam day is like any other day. Now, if one fellow or one girl hasn't done well in one thing, they're not. What is the purpose of putting them through another grueling thing? That is one. You can't expect children.
Okay.
To be, full back in center forward in football and do all extracurricular activities and not pay attention. Let me tell you one thing. From what I've seen, of other children studies and their syllabus for class 10 is programmed, the present one, in such a way, their topics for exams and for their projects, that these children are so sure about themselves by the time they are in class 10. They have a definite mind of their own. Let's give children the freedom to make their own choice. And also a panel. Now, I don't know whether any children have been incorporated into this panel. Any panel, anything that you do with children should have a representation of children. You should have one guy or a girl who has failed, one mediocre, one average, and one top ranking. So that you come to know exactly what they are.
Ma'am, I think you have your views are very interesting.
And if I could
very
respond.
interesting views, ma'am. Thank you so much for taking time out and calling us and sharing your opinions. I think Mr. Sridhar, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I think fundamentally there's a little confusion here. The two tests are not mandatory. It's two optional tests which are there. A child can write test number 1 and stop. No reason he has to write test number 2. He's only given the choice of writing test number 2 if he does badly. It was there earlier as a supplementary
So even if the child
exam.
has opted for the 2 exams, the child can take one exam and leave out the other? Even
Absolutely.
if the child in the beginning of the
right?
session has taken 2 exams?
It's a better of the two. So if I do well in the first test,
Okay,
there's no
just
reason
allow me
I
a
should
minute.
write
Allow
the
me a minute.
second test.
I'm being joined by Mr. Ajay from Jammu and Kashmir. Mr. Ajay, please go ahead. Very good evening. Thank you for calling us.
Evening. I'll be very short. NEP is just in place the fatal Manu code. Okay, kids got no options, and good for kids. It could have been quarterly also. The kids got no option now. It's open merit now. Thank you.
I think kids have got options
Thank
now.
you. Thank you, Mr.
They
Ajay.
have more flexibility, more choices. It's only execution part and implementation part we are deliberating. It will be challenging. Otherwise, for kids, nobody is forcing them to appear in both the exams.
Exactly.
And then they can decide if they want to improve their score. Suppose some child has scored 85 in maths, but they want 95, then only they are sitting. Or if they are not qualifying 33%, or if there is some medical emergency, or if the child is representing country in some sports or something, they are getting another chance. So there is a lot of flexibility. There is no problem there. Like I have consulted all the stakeholders. I was talking to parents and children. So children, more or less, they are welcoming. But as practitioners, we see other aspect also, how to implement it.
Okay. I'm afraid we are totally out of time. There are, responses which have been sought with this draft being put out in public domain. So I guess everybody who is interested should be putting out their responses. These responses are very important. I believe I have a final caller. I don't know whether I have the time. Do I have the time to take this caller? Okay. All right. Dr. Sudha Acharya as well as Dr. Sridhar, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. We're totally out of time. Thank you to our callers. Thank you to our viewers for calling us. Apologies for the technical glitches in the beginning. Thank you very much. Time for a very short break. On the other side, my colleague Shreya Upadhyay will be taking it over.